Welcome, travelers of time and myth, to Forgotten Scrolls. Have you ever wondered where the profound ideas that shape the very world originated? This is a story for those who seek wisdom, clarity, and deep answers to eternal questions. Today, we will explore the life and the luminous legacy of one of the greatest thinkers of all time, Aristotle. From his quiet childhood in Stagira to his eternal influence, this story will calm your spirit, instruct your mind, and inspire you to think with greater clarity. Join us on this journey through history, philosophy, and the very soul of a true sage. We will discover how Aristotle irrevocably changed the course of human thought with his unwavering logic, his meticulous science, and his profound ethics. We will witness his cherished friendship with Alexander the Great, his groundbreaking studies of nature, and his timeless vision of a truly virtuous life. This narrative will not only teach you about philosophy, it will also grant you peace before you drift off to sleep. So relax, breathe deeply, and remain until the very end to unveil the most intriguing secrets of Aristotle. Chapter 1. The Boy from Stagira. Aristotle was born in the small, serene city of Stagira, nestled in the region of Macedon, in the year 384 BCE. His family carried a profound connection to the art of medicine, as his father, Nicomachus, served as the revered physician to King Amyntas III. From a very tender age, Aristotle found himself surrounded by an atmosphere of profound knowledge and meticulous care, an environment that, without a doubt, deeply influenced his innate curiosity for the intricacies of the body and the vastness of nature. His childhood in Stagira was tranquil, surrounded by landscapes abundant with majestic mountains and the calming presence of the sea, all of which stimulated his burgeoning love for observing the subtle nuances of the world. From a young age, Aristotle displayed an exceptionally restless mind, ceaselessly, posing questions about how and why phenomena unfolded around him. His father instilled in him a deep, abiding respect for life and for the pursuit of scientific understanding, patiently teaching him the fundamental principles of medicine and biology. Although his early youth was marked by the profound sorrow of his father's premature passing, Aristotle pressed forward with an unyielding determination that would accompany him throughout his extraordinary life. His home education was the very first step toward nurturing a brilliant and profoundly dedicated mind. Macedon in his time was a territory undergoing profound political and cultural transformations, a vital crossroads where ancient Greek traditions met and mingled with new emergent influences. Aristotle matured within this vibrant and dynamic context, absorbing countless stories, diverse philosophies, and burgeoning scientific theories that were hotly debated throughout the region. The figure of his physician father and his intimate connection with the Macedonian court granted him unparalleled access to knowledge that was beyond the reach of most others. This privileged access meticulously paved the way for his thought to ultimately become universal. The young Aristotle was sent to Athens at the tender age of 17 to embark upon his studies at Plato's renowned academy. This pivotal relocation was absolutely crucial, for it allowed him to make direct contact with the towering minds of the Greek world and to vastly expand his intellectual horizons. Before his departure, Aristotle had already cultivated a passionate commitment to the meticulous study of nature, an inherent trait that would fundamentally define his future groundbreaking work. His childhood in Stagira provided the solid foundation for a lifetime dedicated to relentless and tireless learning. Aristotle's family harbored great hopes for him, keenly aware of his exceptional intelligence and profound dedication. In that distant era, formal education was a rare privilege, and Aristotle seized every single opportunity to absorb knowledge. His childhood, though outwardly simple, was brimming with moments that quietly sowed the seeds of the great philosopher he would become. Every experience, every keen observation brought him closer to a profound understanding of the world's deepest workings. Although direct records of his earliest childhood are scarce, historians generally concur that Aristotle was a precocious child, gifted with an extraordinary capacity for logical reasoning. From a very young age, he exhibited a keen interest in animals and plants, a fascination that would later profoundly influence his scientific studies. This unique combination of innate natural curiosity and unwavering discipline was precisely what allowed him to transcend and become one of history's most influential thinkers. The natural environment of Stagira, with its rich diversity of flora and fauna, served as a living, breathing laboratory for young Aristotle. He observed with meticulous attention the intricate cycles of life, the distinct characteristics of each species, and the complex relationships that bound them together. He was a true pioneer in classifying species and describing their traits with rigorous precision, a methodology quite uncommon for his time. These groundbreaking investigations marked a radical turning point in the very history of science. Aristotle did not limit his explorations to merely the natural world. He also delved deeply into human societies. He developed a keen interest in how people lived, their laws, their customs, and their various forms of government. This expansive and holistic perspective allowed him to construct a more complete and integrated vision of the world, seamlessly blending the natural with the social. Thus, his studies acquired an interdisciplinary dimension, remarkably advanced for his era. Despite the geographical distance and the demanding responsibilities of his later life, Aristotle maintained a strong, abiding connection with his Macedonian roots. This profound blend of cultural heritage and Athenian education granted him a unique and multifaceted perspective, enabling him to integrate disparate forms of thought. His childhood in Stagira marked the genesis of a lifelong journey that would transcend centuries, unifying the local with the universal, the concrete with the abstract. Stagira was the nascent stage upon which a mind destined to radiate brilliance first began to stir. Finally, the boy from Stagira transformed into a young man overflowing with dreams and an insatiable yearning for knowledge. His early life taught him the paramount importance of observing with meticulous attention, of questioning without fear, and of ceaselessly seeking answers within the simplest details. Armed with these invaluable tools, Aristotle stood ready to take the next monumental step, to become the apprentice of the great Plato. His extraordinary story was only just beginning. With this solid foundation, we prepare to enter the hallowed world of the Academy and discover how the young Aristotle was shaped under the profound tutelage of the master who would forever mark Greek philosophy. Relax and allow yourself to be carried away by the story that follows, where the mind of a child will grow to irrevocably change the very thought of humanity. Chapter 2. The Disciple's Journey. When Aristotle arrived in Athens, he seamlessly integrated into the Academy, the renowned school founded by Plato, which at that time stood as the undisputed center of philosophical thought in all of Greece. There, the young aspirant confronted profound ideas concerning the nature of reality, the acquisition of knowledge, and the principles of ethics, themes that would continue to nourish his intellectual spirit throughout his entire life. The Academy provided an environment where dialogue and deep reflection were the prevailing currency, an ideal setting for a curious, young mind brimming with an insatiable eagerness to learn. Plato, the Academy's esteemed master, espoused an idealistic worldview, believing that perfect ideas or forms constituted the ultimate true reality. Aristotle, while harboring deep respect for his venerable teacher, simultaneously began to cultivate his own distinctive approach, one more firmly rooted in the tangible and the observable. This complex relationship between master and student was a rich tapestry woven with both profound admiration and persistent questioning, a dynamic that profoundly shaped the nascent philosophical thought of Aristotle. For nearly 2 decades, Aristotle remained at the Academy, diligently studying not only philosophy, but also natural sciences, mathematics, and rigorous logic. This extensive period proved fundamental to his intellectual formation, allowing him the freedom and the discipline to explore diverse areas of knowledge. Plato's influence was undeniably profound, yet it also served as the crucial springboard from which Aristotle began to formulate his own groundbreaking theories and incisive criticisms. The atmosphere within the Academy was vibrant and constantly charged with fervent debates. Aristotle actively participated in these discussions, challenging established ideas and meticulously presenting his own arguments with remarkable clarity and precision. His analytical mind and his exceptional ability to discern intricate details allowed him to stand out among his peers and capture the attention of Plato himself, despite their burgeoning philosophical differences. An essential aspect of Aristotle's learning was his meticulous attention to nature and concrete reality, a focus that sharply contrasted with Plato's more idealistic approach. This distinctly empirical perspective would become one of the defining characteristics of his monumental body of work, particularly in the burgeoning fields of biology and physics. Through direct observation, Aristotle relentlessly sought to understand the world precisely as it presented itself, not merely as it ideally should be. In addition to philosophy, Aristotle developed a profound interest in logic, which he diligently studied and systematically developed to organize thought with clarity and precision. His groundbreaking work in logic would become the bedrock for many future sciences, offering a rigorous method for constructing arguments and arriving at valid conclusions. Within the academy, this burgeoning interest seamlessly integrated with his studies on ethics and politics, culminating in a comprehensive and holistic vision of knowledge. Although Aristotle deeply valued his time at the academy, he also began to quietly perceive that some of Plato's ideas did not entirely align with the reality he meticulously observed. This intellectual tension led to a gradual, unspoken distancing. While he always maintained deep respect for his revered teacher, his fervent desire to seek his own answers propelled him to explore new paths beyond the academy, embarking on a journey that would profoundly change his life. During this time, Aristotle also bore witness to significant political and social changes across Greece, events that further fueled his burgeoning interest in politics and human organization. He keenly understood that philosophy should not remain solely within the realm of abstract ideas, but must actively serve to improve life within the community. This practical mindset would remain a constant and defining feature throughout his subsequent work. His experience at the academy proved to be a fundamental chapter for Aristotle, providing him with invaluable intellectual tools, rigorous discipline, and a critical perspective that he would apply to his own groundbreaking discoveries. His period as an apprentice served as the essential foundation for him to transform into an independent master and profound thinker, capable of influencing countless future generations. From this pivotal point forward, his path would diverge towards new adventures and timeless teachings. Chapter 3: Breaking the Mold, Beyond the Academy. After nearly 2 decades steeped in Plato's academy, Aristotle began to perceive that his own burgeoning ideas and methodological approaches were diverging significantly from those of his venerable teacher. While he harbored profound and unwavering respect for Plato, his own strong inclination towards empirical observation and the tangible realities of the world clashed with the prevailing idealism that permeated the school. This intellectual divergence subtly marked the beginning of a gradual distancing, signaling a decisive shift in his life's trajectory. The philosophical atmosphere of Athens at that time was intense and highly competitive. The academy, while fostering dialogue, also made differences increasingly apparent. Aristotle yearned to ground knowledge in observable facts and systematic experimentation, a vision that did not fully align with Plato's teachings on eternal and immutable forms. This fundamental divergence compelled him to deeply question the path he was destined to follow. His departure was neither abrupt nor dramatic. Rather, it was a measured transition towards intellectual independence. Aristotle consciously decided to leave the academy and explore new horizons, seeking to fully develop his own theories and methodologies. This moment proved crucial, for it signified his transformation from a mere student into an autonomous thinker, ready to forge a distinct legacy rooted in a different approach than his predecessors. After leaving Athens, Aristotle embarked upon a series of journeys that vastly broadened his worldview and enabled him to diligently gather knowledge across diverse fields. His inquisitive spirit led him to study nature directly, in its own untamed environment, far from the confines of lecture halls and dusty books. He meticulously observed animals, plants, and natural phenomena, This direct engagement with reality became one of the foundational cornerstones of his future philosophical system. During this period, Aristotle also deeply reflected on the paramount importance of logic as an indispensable tool for attaining solid truths. He firmly believed that to truly comprehend the world, it was essential to organize one's thoughts systematically and meticulously avoid errors. This profound conviction propelled him to lay the very foundations of formal logic, a discipline that would prove fundamental for the development of scientific and philosophical thought for centuries to come. His separation from the academy allowed Aristotle to cultivate a more critical and original perspective. He not only questioned Platonic ideas, but began to construct his own comprehensive system, one in which empirical experience and rigorous reason played complementary roles. This period of intellectual freedom was essential for him to seamlessly integrate disparate areas of knowledge within a unified framework. In his travels and studies, Aristotle also developed a deeper interest in politics and social organization. He meticulously observed how cities and governments functioned, and he pondered deeply what constituted the best form of life for human beings. These profound thoughts would eventually become fundamental pillars of his ethical and political works, profoundly influencing our understanding of human coexistence. The decision to depart from the academy and forge his own path reflected Aristotle's intellectual maturity. He was no longer merely a student. He was a master in the making, relentlessly seeking more complete and applicable answers. This stage serves as a powerful reminder that true learning also involves questioning and boldly advancing toward new ideas without fear of abandoning the familiar. With this new chapter wide open, Aristotle was prepared to face fresh challenges and boundless opportunities. His restless mind and unwavering commitment to truth would lead him to places and individuals that would forever mark his life. In the next chapter, we will delve into his pivotal journeys and groundbreaking discoveries that vastly expanded his horizons and solidified his profound philosophical thought. Chapter 4: Travels and Unveiling Truths. Upon leaving the academy, Aristotle embarked upon a profound period of exploration that would lead him to journey through various regions of the Greek world and even beyond. These travels proved essential for expanding his immense knowledge, as they allowed him to directly observe nature and the customs of diverse peoples. This hands-on, practical experience profoundly enriched his thought and laid the very groundwork for his empirical approach. During those formative years, Aristotle visited cities like Assos, where he collaborated with local scientists and philosophers. There, he was able to study biology and zoology in greater detail, fields that deeply fascinated him. His curiosity knew no bounds, and with each new observation, he reaffirmed the crucial importance of grounding knowledge in real facts and concrete experiences. Nature served as a constant, patient teacher for Aristotle throughout these journeys. He observed with meticulous patience plants, animals, and their complex behaviors, ceaselessly seeking patterns and underlying causes. He was a true pioneer in classifying species and describing their characteristics with rigorous precision, a methodology quite uncommon for his era. These groundbreaking investigations marked a radical shift in the history of science. Aristotle not only explored the natural world, but also human societies. He developed a keen interest in how people lived, their intricate laws, their customs, and their various forms of government. This expansive perspective allowed him to construct a more complete worldview, seamlessly integrating the natural with the social. Thus, his studies acquired an interdisciplinary dimension remarkably advanced for his time. During this period, Aristotle also developed significant concepts in physics and metaphysics, striving to understand the fundamental principles that govern the cosmos. His analytical mind led him to pose profound questions about motion, causality, and the very essence of things, questions that would become the genesis of many subsequent philosophical theories. This period proved crucial for his intellectual development. Difficulties were not absent from his travels, as antiquity was not an easy time for long-distance travel. However, his tenacity and profound passion for knowledge propelled him to continue. In every new place, he encountered fresh challenges and invaluable lessons, which he meticulously recorded for future reflections. His discipline and love for learning were truly admirable. In addition to studying, Aristotle began to teach in various locations, sharing his burgeoning ideas and attracting disciples deeply interested in his method. This teaching experience served as a practical rehearsal for his future school in Athens, where he would solidify his immense legacy. His teaching approach was rooted in dialogue, direct observation, and the constant, unwavering pursuit of truth. It was during these years that Aristotle also began to construct his groundbreaking logical system, which would revolutionize Western philosophy. His studies on syllogisms and formal reasoning enabled the organization of thought in a clear and rigorous manner. This powerful tool would become a cornerstone for both scientific and philosophical knowledge for centuries to come. Finally, Aristotle's travels and discoveries represented a period of profound personal and professional growth that meticulously prepared the ground for his pivotal encounter with Macedon and his destined role as the tutor of Alexander the Great. This chapter of exploration and continuous learning proved indispensable in forging the great thinker we recognize today. Chapter 5: The Macedonian Summons. Aristotle's destiny profoundly shifted when he received the unexpected invitation to become the tutor of the young Prince Alexander, the future Alexander the Great. This summons originated from Macedon, a powerful ascendant region that sought to cultivate a leader with exceptional education and values. The proposal opened a new, unforeseen door in the philosopher's life. He could not have imagined the monumental transcendence of this new mission. Macedon was not merely a military kingdom, it was a vibrant crucible of cultures and ideas. Aristotle relocated there to impart his teachings to Alexander within an environment vastly different from that of Athens. His profound task was to shape a prince capable of ruling with wisdom, justice, and unwavering courage. The educator keenly understood that he stood before a historical opportunity to profoundly influence the future of the entire world. The encounter between Aristotle and Alexander marked the beginning of a complex relationship, filled with unique challenges. The young prince was inherently ambitious and ceaselessly curious, while the master was rigorously disciplined and highly demanding. Despite their apparent differences, the profound bond that developed between them had a lasting impact on Alexander's intellectual and moral formation. These vital teachings would accompany him throughout his extraordinary conquests. Aristotle meticulously designed a comprehensive curriculum that encompassed philosophy, ethics, politics, natural sciences, and military arts. He aspired for Alexander to receive an integral education, not merely in knowledge, but also in the fundamental values that would guide his future decisions. This education reflected the philosopher's own expansive vision, a perfect balance between reason and action, between theoretical understanding and practical application. During his stay in Macedon, Aristotle gained access to significant resources and ancient texts, which allowed him to further develop his own groundbreaking ideas. He was also afforded the opportunity to meticulously observe the politics and social structure of a kingdom in full expansion. These observations proved invaluable, enabling him to refine his theories on human organization and the dynamics of power. The philosopher exerted a quiet yet persistent influence over Alexander. While the prince did not always adhere strictly to his tutor's advice, the ethical and philosophical foundation he received was undeniably evident in many of his subsequent decisions. Aristotle understood that his work was not merely to educate, but to mold a character capable of withstanding the immense pressures of absolute power. This period in Macedon was a crucial turning point for Aristotle, as it seamlessly combined his profound love for teaching with the practical experience of influencing a future ruler. Moreover, his direct contact with Eastern cultures and Alexander's military ambitions offered him a broader perspective of the world, which he meticulously integrated into his philosophical thought. However, not everything was harmony. Political tensions and the inherent instability of the Macedonian court severely tested Aristotle's patience and wisdom. His relationship with Alexander experienced periods of fluctuation, and political circumstances dictated that his tenure in Macedon would not be eternal. These difficulties ultimately marked the conclusion of this stage in his life. Finally, after several years as a dedicated tutor, Aristotle decided to return to Athens. He had fulfilled his profound mission and was now ready to establish his own school and continue his monumental life's work. The Macedonian summons left an indelible mark on his philosophical thought and on history itself, for through Alexander, his groundbreaking ideas reached the very confines of the known world. Chapter 6. The Architect of Alexander's Soul. Aristotle's task as the teacher of young Alexander was an experience that profoundly shaped both individuals. Aristotle did not merely transmit knowledge, he sought to forge a firm character grounded in reason and unwavering virtue. Education, in this unique context, blossomed into a deeply personal bond that transcended the confines of any classroom, with lessons that profoundly impacted the future conqueror. The philosopher's method seamlessly combined deep philosophical reflection with keen observation of the real world. Alexander absorbed lessons on history, politics, ethics, and natural sciences, but also internalized the vital importance of self-control and profound justice. Aristotle consistently emphasized that power must always be accompanied by wisdom to avoid succumbing to tyranny or despotism. During their lessons, Aristotle actively encouraged open dialogue and persistent questioning. The young prince was naturally curious and often challenged his master's ideas, leading to intense and stimulating debates. This dynamic intellectual exchange profoundly strengthened Alexander's mind, preparing him to make difficult decisions by meticulously considering diverse perspectives before acting. The philosopher underscored the paramount importance of virtue, not merely as an abstract ideal, but as a deeply ingrained habit cultivated through constant daily practice. Alexander was instructed to meticulously balance his desires and emotions, perpetually seeking the golden mean, a central concept in Aristotelian ethics. This pursuit of equilibrium would prove crucial in his future governance. Aristotle also imparted profound teachings on political and social organization, meticulously explaining the intrinsic nature of city-states and their various forms of government. Alexander thus gained a deep understanding of the inherent complexity of power and the immense responsibility involved in leading a people. This knowledge would prove essential for his military campaigns and his ambitious, expansive policies. Direct contact with Greek culture, its rich mythology, and its profound philosophy formed a fundamental part of Alexander's education. Aristotle demonstrated how these ancient roots could guide Alexander's worldview and his grand project of unifying diverse territories under a single, overarching ideal. This seamless blend of knowledge and culture became an enduring legacy imparted by the master. Over time, the relationship between Aristotle and Alexander evolved into a bond of profound mutual respect and genuine friendship. Alexander deeply valued Aristotle's wisdom, although he also had to continually confront political realities and the relentless pull of his own ambitions. The master understood that his pupil would not always follow his teachings to the letter, yet he trusted that the essential moral foundation had been firmly laid. Aristotle's pervasive influence was clearly reflected in many of Alexander's key decisions, ranging from his remarkable respect for conquered peoples to his keen interest in scientific and cultural knowledge. This intellectual legacy ensured that Alexander's conquests were not merely military triumphs, but also profound cultural and philosophical endeavors, effectively bridging East and West. However, Aristotle's time in Macedon was drawing to a close. His responsibilities and the escalating political tensions ultimately led the philosopher to decide to return to Athens. His experience as Alexander's tutor proved to be an essential chapter that profoundly enriched his philosophical thought and solidified his pivotal role as both an educator and a profound sage. Chapter 7. Return to the Soul of Greece. After several impactful years in Macedon, Aristotle made the conscious decision to return to Athens, the city that had long been the vibrant center of profound thought and philosophy. This homecoming represented for him a unique opportunity to establish his own, independent space for teaching and deep reflection, a space distinct from Plato's academy, yet equally innovative in its approach. Athens awaited him with its bustling public squares, its fervent debates, and its eager students, all hungry for knowledge. The city found itself in a period of political and social transition, and Aristotle keenly understood that his new mission would be to influence the emerging generations with a more empirical and systematic approach to knowledge. He sought to break away from certain idealistic notions and instead draw closer to observable reality, a philosophical stance that would profoundly shape both his future works and his new school. Upon re-establishing himself in Athens, Aristotle began to gather a dedicated circle of disciples and collaborators. His house quickly transformed into a vibrant hub where a wide array of subjects were passionately discussed, from biology and politics to ethics and logic. These intellectual gatherings were as intense as the lessons he had previously imparted to Alexander, but now within a more open and public setting. His return also heralded a period of immense intellectual productivity. Aristotle dedicated himself to writing foundational texts that would serve as the bedrock of Western thought for centuries. In these works, he meticulously synthesized his expansive worldview, seamlessly combining precise observation with deep philosophical reasoning, thereby charting new paths in multiple disciplines. Despite his empirical focus, Aristotle did not abandon the rich philosophical tradition that preceded him. He continued to engage in profound dialogue with the ideas of his predecessors, often criticizing them or enhancing them with his own insights. This delicate balance between respect and critical analysis was crucial to the originality of his thought and to the eventual success of his new school. His return also brought its own set of challenges. In Athens, some viewed his ideas and influence with suspicion. Plato's figure remained deeply revered, and some disciples did not easily accept Aristotle's critiques of his beloved master. Nevertheless, he steadfastly maintained his intellectual independence with unwavering firmness. Aristotle understood that the most effective way to defend his philosophical views was through consistent teaching and relentless research. For this reason, he concentrated on forming a solid group of dedicated students who could continue and expand upon his ideas. This intellectual community would prove fundamental for the posterity of his monumental work. Furthermore, Aristotle resumed his intensive research in natural sciences, an area he had somewhat set aside during his time in Macedon. He re-engaged with biology, zoology, and physics, applying his rigorous method based on direct observation and meticulous analysis. This return to Athens marked a moment of profound renaissance for Aristotle, who, with renewed energy and a crystal-clear vision, founded what would become the Lyceum. This place was not merely a school. It was a true laboratory of ideas and groundbreaking discoveries that would irrevocably change the world. Chapter 8. The Lyceum's Light. Upon returning to Athens, Aristotle made the momentous decision to found a new school, which he would name the Lyceum, a sacred place where teaching and rigorous research would walk hand in hand. This school was not just a physical space, it was an innovative model of education that broke boldly with the traditional paradigms of the era. The Lyceum swiftly transformed into a dynamic center where philosophy seamlessly merged with meticulous science and direct observation. The choice of the Lyceum as its location was profoundly significant, as it was situated near the temple dedicated to Apollo Lysius, a god intimately associated with light and profound clarity. Aristotle envisioned his school as a radiant beacon of knowledge and wisdom, a place where truth would be illuminated through rigorous study and incisive critical reflection. Its sprawling gardens and open spaces also fostered vibrant debates and contemplative philosophical strolls. A fundamental characteristic of the Lyceum was its teaching method, firmly rooted in active dialogue and practical investigation. Aristotle actively encouraged discussion among his students, while also promoting direct observation of the natural world. This hands-on approach was truly revolutionary, as it placed knowledge directly at the service of lived experience and everyday reality. At the Lyceum, diverse branches of knowledge were diligently studied, ranging from intricate biology to complex politics. Aristotle and his dedicated disciples meticulously collected data, analyzed phenomena, and formulated theories that sought to explain the intricate workings of the universe and the structure of human society. This interdisciplinary spirit proved crucial to the school's immense success and enduring fame. The students of the Lyceum did not merely listen, they actively participated in groundbreaking investigations. Aristotle fostered an environment of profound collaboration and boundless creativity, where every student could contribute meaningfully to the advancement of knowledge. This model generated a dynamic and highly productive intellectual community, markedly different from the more rigid structure of the academy. Furthermore, Aristotle meticulously organized the school in a systematic manner, with a comprehensive curriculum that encompassed everything from foundational logic to practical ethics. The holistic formation of the individual was greatly encouraged, an ideal that seamlessly combined intellectual development with the cultivation of virtue and practical wisdom. This educational vision aimed to prepare citizens who were both wise and just. The Lyceum also distinguished itself through its extensive library and archive of texts, where both classical works and new research findings were meticulously preserved and analyzed. Aristotle dedicated a significant portion of his life to compiling and organizing knowledge, thereby transforming his school into an undisputed center of reference for philosophers and scientists alike. This vast intellectual repository proved fundamental for posterity. Over the years, the Lyceum steadily expanded its influence, attracting disciples from diverse regions. Its unique method and profound teachings disseminated far beyond Athens, leaving an indelible mark on the Western intellectual tradition. The school became a powerful symbol of intellectual rigor, insatiable curiosity, and an unyielding love for truth. Aristotle personally directed the Lyceum's activities, imparting classes and meticulously supervising research. His profound dedication and unwavering passion for knowledge were evident and profoundly contagious. Under his unparalleled leadership, the school experienced a golden age of creativity and groundbreaking discoveries, solidifying its status as an indispensable intellectual beacon. Chapter 9: Logic, Life, and the Cosmos. Aristotle was a true pioneer in the systematic study of nature and science, laying the foundational groundwork for many disciplines we recognize today. His approach was not based on abstract theories, but on the meticulous and detailed observation of the world that surrounded him. For him, nature was an open book, patiently waiting to be read and understood with diligent patience and precise methodology. One of his greatest contributions was the formalization of logic as a distinct discipline. Through the rigorous study of correct reasoning, Aristotle established the fundamental rules for differentiating between valid arguments and deceptive fallacies. His system, famously known as the syllogism, became the essential tool for scientific and philosophical thought for centuries to come. In the realm of biology, Aristotle dedicated himself to classifying and describing animal species with a level of detail that was astonishing for his era. He meticulously observed their characteristics, habits, and habitats, which enabled him to compile a groundbreaking natural catalog that profoundly influenced future generations. This deep interest marked a significant shift, moving from mere speculation to rigorous empirical investigation. His study of physics was also significant. Although many of his ideas were later surpassed by modern science, the method he employed was essential for subsequent development. Aristotle sought to explain the movements and changes in the natural world, positing that every phenomenon had a cause and a purpose, an idea that deeply influenced medieval thought. Furthermore, Aristotle was a staunch advocate for the concept of cause and effect, meticulously identifying 4 distinct causes: material, formal, efficient, and final. This comprehensive analysis allowed for understanding not only what something is, but also why it exists and for what purpose it serves. This teleological approach permeated his philosophy and sciences, charting a clear course towards a complete explanation of phenomena. His dedication to logic was also reflected in his keen interest in language and meaning. He believed that to think correctly, it was necessary to clarify terms and avoid ambiguities. Therefore, he tirelessly worked to establish precise definitions and construct clear arguments that facilitated dialogue and learning. At the Lyceum, his teachings on science and logic were complemented by practical research. Students and teachers together analyzed natural phenomena. This collaborative model fostered an environment of constant questioning and profound inquiry, crucial for the advancement of knowledge in his time. Aristotle not only observed the physical world, but also human and social behavior, approaching it with a rational focus. His methods seamlessly integrated scientific aspects with philosophical reflection, striving to explain reality in its entirety, from the smallest particles to the political structure of cities. Thus, his legacy in science, logic, and nature remains vibrant, as many principles he established still form the basis of contemporary studies. This chapter reveals how the sage of Stagira not only thought, but observed, experimented, and explained the universe with passion and unwavering rigor. Chapter 10. Ethics. The Path to Virtue. Aristotle dedicated a significant portion of his profound thought to ethics, which he understood as the supreme science aiming to achieve happiness and the good life. For him, ethics was not merely a theoretical concept, but a practical discipline that ought to guide the daily existence of individuals. Virtue, in this sense, represented the very path to attain eudaimonia, a Greek term signifying human flourishing or true, lasting happiness. The philosopher posited that virtue is found in the golden mean, a harmonious balance between two vicious extremes, one of excess and the other of deficiency. For instance, courage as a virtue resides precisely between recklessness, excess, and cowardice, deficiency. This dynamic equilibrium demands profound wisdom and practical judgment to discern the correct measure in each unique situation, a concept famously known as the doctrine of the golden mean. Aristotle firmly believed that virtue is not innate, but is acquired through consistent repetition and unwavering practice. In this way, education and habituation are absolutely fundamental in shaping a person's moral character. It is not enough merely to know what is good. One must repeatedly act well until those actions become an intrinsic part of one's very being. The philosopher also made an important distinction between ethical virtues and dianoetic virtues. The former relate to character and emotions, while the latter are intrinsically linked to reason and intellect. Both are indispensable for a person to be complete and to live a morally good life. In his profound vision, true happiness does not depend on fleeting pleasures or material possessions, but rather on a life devoted to virtue and guided by reason. Only through such a life can a human being attain their highest purpose, which is to live in accordance with their rational nature. Aristotelian ethics is, therefore, a practical ethics, deeply oriented toward holistic human well-being. Furthermore, Aristotle underscored the paramount importance of friendship and justice as essential social virtues. Friendship, when rooted in genuine good, is a relationship that profoundly contributes to the moral growth and happiness of both individuals involved. Justice, for its part, meticulously regulates coexistence and ensures that each person receives what is rightfully due to them, thereby maintaining order within the community. The philosopher also concerned himself deeply with the vital role of politics in promoting virtue. He firmly believed that the state must actively create the appropriate conditions for its citizens to cultivate a virtuous life. For this reason, individual ethics and politics are inextricably linked in his thought. In Aristotle's ethics, happiness is not a static state, but a continuous process of profound personal improvement. The virtuous life is a relentless pursuit of excellence in which the individual strives to overcome their limitations and actualize their maximum potential. This ideal of human perfection continues to inspire philosophers and thinkers to this very day. Finally, Aristotle's ethical work invites us to profoundly reflect on how to live well and with purpose. He demonstrates that virtue is the ultimate key to a fulfilling life, and that balance, reason, and consistent practice are the very pillars of that noble path. Chapter 11. Politics, the Human Community. Aristotle considered politics to be the supreme science that meticulously organizes and directs life in society, given that human beings are, by their very nature, political animals. This profound idea emphasizes that communal living is not merely necessary for survival, but absolutely essential for the full development of virtue and the attainment of true happiness. For him, the state serves as the indispensable framework within which individuals can achieve their maximum potential. In his seminal work on politics, Aristotle thoroughly analyzes various forms of government, meticulously distinguishing between those that genuinely seek the common good and those that merely pursue particular self-serving interests. He systematically classifies legitimate regimes into monarchy, aristocracy, and politeia, a mixed constitution or constitutional government, and their corrupt deviations into tyranny, oligarchy, and degenerate democracy. His analytical framework represents one of the earliest and most systematic studies on political organization. The philosopher emphatically underscored that the best government is one that genuinely seeks the general welfare and actively promotes virtue among its citizens. For this reason, justice stands as a central, unwavering principle in his political conception. Distributive justice, he argued, must ensure that each person receives according to their merit and contribution, while corrective justice is applied to rectify inequalities or concrete injustices. Aristotle advocated for a society characterized by a strong middle class, perceiving it as the embodiment of balance and political stability. For him, extremes of wealth and poverty inevitably generate conflicts and pose significant threats to social cohesion. This insightful idea concerning the importance of the middle class has been extensively studied and reevaluated in modern political discourse. Furthermore, he posited that public education ought to be the responsibility of the state, serving the crucial purpose of cultivating virtuous citizens keenly aware of their role within the community. Only through such comprehensive education is it truly possible to maintain a just order and for the government to fulfill its primary function of fostering the common good, thereby safeguarding power from corruption and abuse. In his vision, the ideal citizen is one who actively participates in political life, wisely exercises their rights and duties, and consistently seeks the collective well-being. Politics, therefore, is not solely the domain of rulers, but a shared responsibility for all, members of the polis. Active participation and unwavering commitment are paramount to democratic health. Aristotle also deeply reflected on property and economics, defending private property, but advocating for its limits to prevent excessive accumulation and social injustice. He believed that equilibrium in material resources contributes to social stability, allowing individuals to dedicate themselves to virtue and contemplative life. His political approach is notably pragmatic and realistic, based on his meticulous observation of the Greek city-states of his era. For this reason, he did not pursue an abstract ideal, but rather a practical and effective organization that would guarantee harmonious coexistence and human flourishing. His influence has been fundamental to Western political theory. Finally, Aristotle highlights the intricate relationship between ethics and politics, asserting that a good social organization depends on virtuous citizens, and these, in turn, require a just state. This profound interdependence forms the bedrock of his thought on human organization, which continues to inspire debates today on the best modes of governance. Chapter 12. Thought beyond time. Aristotle's profound thought has transcended centuries and continues to be a fundamental reference across diverse disciplines of knowledge. His vast body of work encompasses philosophy, science, logic, ethics, and politics, displaying a breadth and depth that few thinkers have ever managed to equal. Throughout time, his enduring legacy has profoundly influenced periods ranging from the Middle Ages to the modern and contemporary eras, continually adapting to new contexts and emerging challenges. One of the primary reasons his thought endures is his empirical method, grounded in meticulous observation and direct experience, which sharply contrasts with the abstract speculations of other philosophers. Aristotle proposed that knowledge must originate from concrete reality before theories can be formulated. This approach has been pivotal for the development of modern scientific methodology, making him an indirect precursor to modern science itself. His formal logic, brilliantly expounded in the Analytics, laid the very foundations for the discipline that rigorously orders rational thought. It was the first rigorous systematization of how to construct valid arguments and how to meticulously avoid fallacies. This logical framework remained authoritative as the sole reference until the 19th century and continues to be studied and utilized across diverse fields, from computer science to analytical philosophy. In ethics, his teleological approach, which seeks to understand the ultimate purpose or end of human actions, continues to guide contemporary debates on morality and happiness. Aristotle believed that virtue is achieved through balance and moderation, and that authentic happiness stems from the full development of human capacities. This perspective continues to inspire contemporary ethical and psychological theories. In politics, his incisive analysis of social organization and forms of government remains an invaluable source for political science. Many current theories on democracy, justice, and citizenship are rooted in Aristotelian ideas, particularly his emphasis on active participation and the common good. His reflections aid in understanding the ongoing challenges of governance and social stability. Throughout history, various thinkers have reinterpreted and adapted his ideas. In the Middle Ages, his work was re-embraced by scholastic philosophers like Thomas Aquinas, who seamlessly integrated Aristotelian thought with Christian theology. Later, in the Renaissance and modern eras, his empirical approach served as a foundational bedrock for the development of experimental science and critical philosophy. Even in the present day, the study of Aristotle remains a cornerstone in the humanities and social sciences. Universities and research centers dedicate extensive studies to his work, and his pervasive influence can be discerned in philosophical, ethical, political, and scientific debates. His remarkable ability to combine logical thought with practical observation is a testament to his sheer genius. Furthermore, the enduring relevance of his teachings lies in his profound understanding of the human being as a complex entity, requiring both rational knowledge and moral development. This holistic vision invites deep reflection on our very existence and the manner in which we organize our societies and personal relationships. Finally, Aristotle's influence is not confined to the Western world. His work was translated and diligently studied in the Islamic world and beyond, impacting diverse cultures and intellectual traditions. This global reach confirms that his thought is truly universal, capable of engaging with disparate epochs and contexts. Chapter 13. The Sage's Final Days. Aristotle's final days were marked by a period of profound reflection and a certain withdrawal from active public life. After years dedicated to relentless teaching and the meticulous elaboration of his vast body of works, the philosopher found himself confronting escalating political hostility in Athens. His deep connection with Macedon and Alexander the Great provoked deep-seated suspicion and direct accusations, which ultimately led him to the difficult decision of abandoning the city that had been his intellectual home for so long. But the primary accusation leveled against Aristotle was that of impiety, a grave charge in the Athens of his time, one that had already cost his own revered teacher Plato and other prominent thinkers their very lives. Although precise records of trials or convictions are scarce, the social and political pressure he faced became utterly unbearable. Aristotle therefore opted for voluntary exile to avoid a similar fate, thus demonstrating both prudence and a pragmatic vision in the face of adversity. He relocated to Chalcis on the island of Euboea, a less turbulent place, far removed from the intricate intrigues of Athens. There, far from the city's bustling commotion, he was able to dedicate his final years to quiet teaching and prolific writing. This period, though more tranquil, was no less productive. He continued to develop profound ideas and solidify his philosophical thought, a testament to a mind that remained ceaselessly active until his very end. During this time, Aristotle maintained correspondence with some of his most dedicated disciples and followers, who recognized in him a figure not only of immense intellectual authority, but also of profound spiritual guidance. His enduring influence remained considerable, and his school, the Lyceum, continued to operate under the direction of his collaborators, perpetuating Aristotelian teaching. Despite his retirement, it is said that Aristotle remained deeply troubled by the political situation in Greece and concerned about the ultimate destiny of his ideas. His life had been defined by an unwavering commitment to the pursuit of truth and the common good, values he defended until the very end with unshakable integrity. This ethical legacy is one of the profound reasons why his work continues to be so relevant today. Regarding his health, historical sources are not conclusive, but it is believed that he died in the year 322 BCE at approximately 62 years of age. The exact cause of his death remains unknown, though some legends suggest it may have been due to a prolonged illness. However, what remains unequivocally clear is that his mind and his timeless teachings profoundly survived long after his physical body had ceased. His death did not signify oblivion, but rather the true beginning of a new era in which his thought began to be diligently collected, meticulously copied, and widely disseminated across various parts of the ancient world. His devoted disciples took on the sacred task of preserving his writings, many of which have regrettably been lost to time, but those that have reached us stand as powerful testimonies to his sheer genius and boundless dedication. Aristotle's pervasive influence extended from classical Greece to the vast Roman Empire, the medieval Islamic world, and the vibrant European Renaissance. His work served as a crucial bridge between distinct philosophical and scientific traditions, being continually reinterpreted and adapted by successive generations who found in his ideas a solid foundation for the development of human knowledge. Finally, the figure of Aristotle continues to be a powerful symbol of the relentless pursuit of knowledge and the harmonious balance between reason and experience. His final days, far from being a dark conclusion, represent the serene epilogue of a life wholly dedicated to illuminating the path of profound thought, a path that millions have followed and will continue to traverse. Chapter 14. The Immortal Legacy. The profound legacy of Aristotle transcends centuries and defies borders, solidifying its place as one of the fundamental pillars of Western philosophy. His groundbreaking ideas on logic, ethics, politics, and science not only powerfully influenced his contemporaries, but became the very foundation for medieval, Renaissance, and modern thought. The sheer vastness of his work has generated a deep and pervasive impact across multiple disciplines, from intricate metaphysics to empirical biology. During the Middle Ages, his voluminous writings were rediscovered and meticulously translated, primarily into Arabic, diligently preserved and studied by renowned Muslim philosophers and scientists such as Avicenna and Averroes. This monumental work of translation and commentary allowed Aristotelian ideas to journey back to Europe, profoundly fueling intellectual development during the Renaissance and the scholastic period. In this sense, Aristotle truly served as a vital bridge between diverse cultures and distinct epochs. His logical system, especially the syllogism, meticulously laid the groundwork for formal logic and the very scientific method. Later philosophers like Thomas Aquinas seamlessly integrated Aristotelian teachings with Christian doctrine, creating a coherent framework of thought that dominated Western philosophy for centuries. Aristotle's remarkable ability to combine rigorous reason with empirical observation remains a timeless model for precise and methodical thinking. In the scientific realm, Aristotle pioneered the classification of living beings, the detailed observation of natural phenomena, and the relentless pursuit of fundamental causes and principles. Although many of his specific conclusions were later superseded by modern science, his inquisitive approach and his methodical analysis remain profoundly relevant. His influence on biology and physics marked the true beginning of a scientific tradition that still persists in current scientific inquiry. Aristotelian ethics, centered on virtue and the pursuit of eudaimonia, or true human flourishing, continues to be diligently studied and applied in contemporary moral philosophy. The compelling idea that human beings must cultivate virtuous habits to achieve a good life resonates powerfully today in debates on personal and social ethics. His emphasis on moderation and balance has inspired generations to reflect deeply on character and responsibility. In politics, Aristotle proposed a practical and analytical vision of human organization, meticulously evaluating different systems of government and advocating for the ideal of a just polis where the common good was actively cultivated. His incisive analyses of democracy, monarchy, and oligarchy remain deeply relevant for understanding current challenges in governance and social justice. His political thought is an invaluable source for modern political theory. Aristotelian philosophy became an indispensable tool for the advancement of knowledge, fostering a constant dialogue between theory and practice. His work invites critical questioning, encouraging us not to accept ideas merely through tradition, but to explore them with an open and rigorous mind. This attitude embodies the very essence of the scientific and philosophical spirit that continues to drive researchers and profound thinkers. Beyond his academic impact, Aristotle's enduring legacy is powerfully reflected in popular culture, in education, and in professional ethics. Many educational and scientific institutions proudly bear his name, and his figure is universally associated with wisdom, reason, and the tireless pursuit of truth. His thought has inspired countless literary, artistic, and philosophical works across the globe, standing as a timeless symbol of human intelligence. Today, the study of Aristotle remains indispensable, not only for understanding the history of philosophy, but also for addressing contemporary issues in ethics, politics, science, and logic. His work continues to be a vibrant source of inspiration for those who seek to comprehend the world and improve the human condition through knowledge and profound reflection. Thus, Aristotle's immortal legacy is not merely a collection of ancient texts. It is a living, breathing influence that transcends epochs and disciplines. His life and work represent a radiant beacon of wisdom that continues to illuminate the path of human thought, gently reminding us that knowledge is an endless quest and a profound responsibility to all of humanity. Chapter 15. Whispers of Wisdom, Curiosities of Aristotle. Aristotle was a figure of such immense complexity that his life is filled with little-known curiosities that eloquently reveal the profound depth and vast diversity of his thought. For instance, although he is famously known for his groundbreaking logic and philosophy, he also harbored a passion for biology that bordered on that of a modern scientist. He conducted meticulous direct observations of animals and plants, laying the foundational groundwork for zoology and botany. His love for nature was so intense that he would spend hours diligently examining even tiny insects and fish. Another intriguing curiosity is that Aristotle penned over 200 works, though, tragically, the majority of them have been lost to time. The works we know today are merely fragments and compilations of his teachings. This sheer volume of writings vividly demonstrates his insatiable curiosity and his relentless dedication to encompassing all fields of knowledge, from metaphysics to rhetoric, encompassing poetics and politics. His body of work was so vast and comprehensive that some ancient schools considered him a universal genius. Aristotle also possessed a deeply human side, notably exemplified by the fact that he served as the tutor to Alexander the Great, the formidable conqueror. The profound relationship between master and pupil left an indelible mark on history, as many scholars believe that the philosophical education Alexander received profoundly influenced his military campaigns and his expansive worldview. This intricate connection between philosophy and political power stands as one of the most fascinating curiosities of his life. Furthermore, Aristotle was a true pioneer in establishing ethics as a rigorous area of study, grounding it not only in abstract ideas, but in the meticulous observation of human behavior and its consequences. He was one of the very first to propose that true happiness is achieved through virtue and balance, a revolutionary concept for his era that continues to be debated to this very day. In the field of logic, his most famous invention is the syllogism. a rigorous method for arriving at valid conclusions from given premises. However, what is truly curious is that this highly formal and structured method emerged from his constant dialogue with his students and his passionate debates within the academy. Logic for him was not merely theory, but a practical tool for critical thinking and robust debate. Despite his immense influence, Aristotle also faced detractors and was not always fully understood. Plato, his revered master, disagreed on several fundamental points, especially concerning the world of forms. This relationship of profound respect coupled with intellectual tension between the two masters left an indelible mark on the history of philosophy, demonstrating that even geniuses can harbor deep differences. Another little-known curiosity is that Aristotle was also a passionate enthusiast of theater and poetry. He meticulously analyzed Greek tragedy and wrote extensively on catharsis, the profound emotional effect that art produces in the spectator. His study of poetics was so in-depth that it still serves as a foundational basis for literary criticism and art theory. Aristotle endured a personal life marked by significant ups and downs, including the tragedy of losing his beloved wife Pythias and his children. Despite these profound losses, he continued his monumental work with admirable discipline. This reveals a deeply human aspect of the philosopher that is often overlooked. Behind the towering philosopher stood a man with profound emotions and formidable personal challenges. Finally, the circumstances of his death continue to be shrouded in legend. It is said that Aristotle died of natural causes, but there are also accounts suggesting he was persecuted for political or religious reasons, given that his groundbreaking ideas challenged many established beliefs. This blend of reality and myth contributes to the legendary aura surrounding this immortal thinker. Thus, the curiosities of Aristotle not only enrich our understanding of his life, but also illuminate how his legacy remains vibrant and profoundly relevant across so many areas of human knowledge and culture. That is all for today, travelers. I hope you have enjoyed this story and found it useful. Thank you deeply for sharing this moment with me. We will meet again in the next installment of Forgotten Scrolls.